Both. Multiculturalism has completely failed, and the government's completely lost control. Not really a surprise, but it's completely failed, obviously, as if it was always going to anyway. So, but we're on the precipice of inter-ethnic conflict. One would imagine. You've got Muslims and Jews. Neither apparently feel safe in the country. Both are obviously massively ancient conflicts. And Starmer's like, bro, can we have a bit of unity, please? Can we unite? And everyone's like, I think time for that's up now, to be honest.
Yeah.
Starmer tells protesters to respect the grief of British Jews. Don't think they really care, to be honest. Not only that, oh yeah, what's that? 400 people arrested. Oh yeah, that was a protest that happened today, wasn't it? Yeah, and then all the violence that happened last night with the 40 plus people that were arrested. It was last night, wasn't it? No, the night before last, when the incident happened with the synagogue attacker. Or I can't remember when that was. It was Thursday. It was Thursday, actually, wasn't it? Yeah. This is mental. Like, this is insane. This is actually insane. Government's completely lost control. It's completely lost control. And what they're trying to do, and it's not even funny, really, but I mean, I guess there is some kind of sick humor in it, is that they're trying to go, guys, can we unite together, please? Against who? They hate one another. I get what? Against people going, they hate one another. That's basically it, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's mental.
I mean, people like us have been saying this for quite a few years now, that we're on a slippery slope to a sectarian nightmare. I don't know how many times I've had to say sort of exactly that. And people always just said, oh, you're just far right. That's what you want. Or like, you're mad. You're a lunatic. I said something on Twitter just like literally like 2 or 3 days ago. I said something like that. And got a few comments saying, listen to yourself. You're a lunatic. It's like, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And the idea of someone like Starmer or Starmer's government just going, please don't, like, to all radical Muslims or something, please don't. Yeah, right.
And it's not just them, it's the sympathizers that they've roped up into their midst. This is staggeringly embarrassing. So when the synagogue attacker committed the terror attack on Thursday, they came out that evening and were all pro-Palestine lobby were causing disruption and chaos pretty much outside Downing Street. And I mean, they just kept going. No word from the government, basically. Didn't come out, didn't condemn radical Islamists. Then they say we're going to protest at the weekend.
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
They say they're going to protest at the weekend. The Met Police comes out and quite literally begs them not to do it. You've got Shabana Mahmood saying, well, I can't stop them. You can stop them, actually. You actually do have the power to prevent them from doing that. You don't want to exercise it because you support it. And then all the while, Trump has apparently secured a deal that Hamas has agreed to now. So why are they protesting? I'll tell you why. Because they know that they've got their own way. And I tell you what, this isn't going to stop. It isn't going to stop. Here's my hot prediction, and you can tell me if you agree or not. This is going to continue. The unholy alliance between the Palestine lobby and just the suicidally empathetic left-wing retards will continue. They will keep protesting now. It is not going to stop. It's not. I don't think it's going to stop. I think they're going to keep going. But the end result is you've got British Jews, or just Jews, and you've got Muslims hating one another. Neither feel safe. Multicultural is done. Like, we have to have the conversation. Clear them out. All of them can go. All of them can go. Jews, Muslims, all of it. Just go. Get out my homeland. My homeland is not a battleground for your ancient Middle Eastern shithole conflicts. Go away.
Yeah. No, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. And someone else on Twitter asking me, Jews don't feel safe in Britain anymore. Like, what can they do? It's like, well, they can go to Israel for a start, if that's how they really feel. If they don't want to stand here and fight or whatever, yeah, do that. Yeah, as well as mass remigration of as many Islamists as we can get. Yeah. Starmer tells protesters to respect the grief of British Jews. Again, very different to the Southport reaction. Very, very, very different. Again, where he was like, it's basically the government's basically saying, please don't do this. It's very different to, I guarantee you will regret this.
24/7.
All that
round the clock courts.
The unrest in the middle of London on the same evening as the synagogue attack. Where was Starmer standing at lecture saying, I guarantee you will regret this.
He didn't even call.
Didn't do that, did he?
Didn't even call Jihad al-Shami, which quite literally translates to holy warrior from Syria, by the way.
Yeah.
As if no one thought that guy might be a jihadist. Didn't even call him a radical Islamist. Didn't condemn Islamism. No mention.
No mention. I saw on the next, I think it was the following day, it might have been the second day, but there was some sort of vigil and like formal gathering in Manchester where a rabbi spoke, Andy Burnham spoke, David Lammy spoke, someone who's really important in sort of the local authority spoke, like the higher ups spoke.
You mean this?
Not one word. Yeah, that. There was all our hearts and prayers are with the families and the victims, and we won't be divided, and da-da-da-da-da. No mention of Islam that I heard. Not one word. Not one word that I heard.
But did you hear the crowd?
Yeah, shame on you, yeah.
That is why we stand in defiance of those terrorists who seek to divide us, who want to pit neighbour against neighbour, to weaken the bonds that bind us together as one nation, one people, one united kingdom.
Please, let the Deputy Prime Minister speak, please.
Every Saturday. Please. We must not let them divide us.
Who, David?
Yeah, who?
Who is it, David? Who is it? Who's dividing us, David?
Who's them?
Who is it, mate? And you know what it is, don't you? It's them going, shit. The far right boogeyman, I guess. I don't know. Like people noticing that Muslims and Jews hate one another and have ancient conflicts. They can't divide us. What?
Yeah, I know. I mean, before that, I've watched the longer clip of that. I watched, and there's a bit. I think it's just before David Lammy comes up actually, and I think it was a rabbi speaking. But anyway, the whole crowd started chanting "Shame on you," in unison a bit. Again, very different response from that community of mourners to the ones, for example, after the Ariana Grande massacre, where there was a Home Office plant getting them to sing "Don't Look Back in Anger." Again, that didn't happen in that crowd. They weren't having any of that, just silently taking it. No, they were shouting back, which is actually a much more correct response. Again, it's not that far. This is the thing when people say nothing ever happens and that nothing will ever get done. Well, it happens quickly. That sort of crowd is not a million miles away from a Ceausescu moment. It's not a million miles away. It's on the horizon. Again, just a few days ago, or earlier in the week, we're recording on Saturday evening. Earlier in the week, I was watching some documentaries about the fall of the Soviet Union, when Yeltsin basically stole power in a de facto sense, to all intents and purposes, from Gorbachev, and the beginning of the end for the Communist Party in Russia and the Soviet Union. And it happened not exactly out of nowhere, because there was just like this situation. There was years of people moaning about it, years of people saying one day something's going to happen, one day we're going to wake up, one day. But even the days before it happened, no one particularly saw it coming. And then once a certain set of events started happening, then all the dominoes fell. The house of cards fell very quickly. It was so quickly, for example, Gorbachev was basically on holiday. He was kind of on a holiday, and stuff happened in Moscow. Like he wouldn't have gone on holiday. He wouldn't have done that if he thought that there was like an imminent collapse, right? So that's how quickly things can happen. Again, Ceausescu himself, that example in Romania, he thought he could still just go out on a balcony and deliver a speech and everything was fine. But it wasn't all fine. And boom, 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 the dominoes fell and whole governments collapse, whole revolutions happen. So, yeah, it does feel as though we're getting closer and closer to a moment of real crisis, real crisis, where, the scenes in the middle of London, the day of the synagogue massacre, that crowd, various things like this, all the Southport happened, all the Southport things that happened last summer, and on and on and on. I just wouldn't be surprised if, historians look back at this period, 2025, 2024, 2025, 2026, and with the hindsight of history, the 2020 godlike view of history after the fact, they'll be like, how could people have not seen it coming? They'll almost say. People that are saying in 2025, nothing ever happens, nothing will ever happen, populism is a delusion, all those sorts of things. That they'll have such egg on their face, I would have thought. Because you look back you look back at the Soviet Union, say 1989, and it's easy to think, how couldn't they see it coming? But that's just hindsight. That's all that is.
Well, here's the thing. I think Starmer can see it coming, right? I think he can see it coming. He pushed David Lammy out there rather than him, right? He chose not to go there because he knew that it would be so embarrassing for him to have to face that crowd. I think he knows it. And I think this is the last ditch effort of just radical ideologues that are holding on to the globalist wet dream, right? So, I mean, everyone knows Muslims and Jews hate one another. Obviously, everyone, like, you can, and now it's plain for everyone to see. Like, that's just the obvious. It's just obvious. Everyone knows it, and that's why they're trying to push the narrative to, well, don't let them divide us. Who is it? Who is them? And it's the people that notice that you hate one another, Muslims and Jews, basically. And who is that? Well, it's natives. It's us. It's us that want our country back. It's us. They're pointing it to us and saying, don't let the natives divide us. We're part of the multiculti. Okay, you hate one another, that's fine, but don't let the natives divide us. Let's keep this alive, this experiment, this grotesque experiment. That's the way I see it. But these protests, they're going to keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to, if it continues the way it's looking like it's going to continue, it's going to be over. But those protests will keep going. And then what? What are they going to ask for? What next? I bet you anything what will happen. Here's my other prediction, right? Because Islamism is by default political anyway, as well as obviously, an ideology, religion, blah, blah, blah. Because they know that they can get in now on an Islamic ticket. The Muslims will reframe everything come 2029. I think that's when the next election is. And it will be, Labour didn't act quick enough. Labour didn't act quick enough. They didn't do anything. We need to get in power. Vote for us. We'll get in power. And they'll reframe the narrative surrounding Gaza, right, and Israel from a perspective of, well, Labour didn't act quick enough on our benefit, so vote us in, and if anything happens in future, we'll do it. I bet you anything. I bet you anything.
I suspect there'll be quite a few more if there isn't a full sort of Islamic party of Britain by that point, there'll just be quite a few more Islamic independents, all in places like, you know, Blackburn and Bradford and Oldham and Birmingham and East London, South London, wherever. Yeah, I would have thought so. The other thing you pointed out is that, they know that they feel the protesters, the pro-Gazan protesters, feel or know really that the state is not going to clamp down on where Shabana Mahmood says there's not much I can do. Well, of course there is. Absolutely there is. You could send in tens of thousands of riot police or even the army if you really had to. But she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to because, of course, she's got her own tribal loyalties, obviously. I mean, I was watching a thing just earlier today all about El Salvador. I'm really interested in El Salvador and that Bukele, President Bukele. And El Salvador is one of, if not, I think, the most dangerous country in the world in terms of homicide, and now it's one of the safest.
Yeah.
And what he did was just completely declare war against the gangs in his country. And it was tens and tens and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, where whole cities are absolutely controlled by the gangs. And he just rounded them up because he used the army, just rounded them up. And like, yeah, if you've just got gang tattoos, that's enough. You go to prison. He just passed loads of laws to allow the courts to do that. Where all it is, if they just suspect you, they can hold you for like 2 years. Right? I mean, that is really, really authoritarian for Western Europe, for a country like Britain, certainly in the post-war era. That is, to us, we would consider that extremely authoritarian. Well, that is the slippery slope that globalism and mass immigration has put us on, where we will have to do something. I would have thought, in the end, we'll have to do something Bukele-like in order to save our country. We'll have to end up doing stuff like that. That sort of, and again, I don't want that. That's horrible. That's not the country I want. But go on.
I was just going to say, well, I think you're about to say it's not what you want, but it's kind of what is potentially a necessity. I was about to say, well, actually, here's where we differ. So, but it sounds actually like we agree. I don't necessarily want that, but I tell you what, because we've slipped way too far. Yeah, I'm all for that. Actually, I'm all for having to have like a totalitarian control to pull it back from the precipice of total destruction. Yeah, if that's what it takes. Yeah, I don't care. Like, I'm all for that. I'm all for sending in the Marines, sending in the Army, the Navy, the RAF, everyone, mobilizing absolutely every facet of the forces, the armed forces, just rounding everyone up, sending them the fuck home. Like, I'm done. This is just absurd.
I completely agree with you. It's not the country I want. It's not the ideal thing I want. But if I was Lord Protector tomorrow, that's what I would do. Yeah, I would pull a Bukele straight away. Yeah, every single day, every single hour it goes on. It is terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you saw. I think you pulled up an article a moment ago saying there was 400 or 440 plus arrests in London today of what's that organisation called? Palestine Action. Yeah. And there's a group called was it Save Our Juries or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. So it's not the actual Palestine Action itself. They just made another group.
Juries. That's the one. Defend our juries. Yeah.
Defend Our Juries. That's it. So there's just another organisation that is sort of acting on behalf. If the main one has been proscribed, well, we'll just make another one. We'll call it something else. And the police just went in there, and I think what I read was that there was only about 1,000 protesters, and they arrested 440 of them. So most, like not the majority, but just loads and loads of them just went in there. And yeah, the idea that the state can't break up protests that are only a few thousand strong, of course they can. Of course they can when they want to.